Let's talk about it. Why do personal brands, even huge ones, sometimes completely fall apart? Because here's the truth. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or a small creator. Personal branding is fragile. And the number one reason personal brands fail, they lose their emotional promise. Not their logo, not their aesthetic, their emotional connection with the audience, the thing that made people care about them in the first place. And no one proves this better than Katy Perry. Hey friends, I'm Ana the Marketeer, your friendly neighborhood marketeer baddie. It's me in the flesh. I am here. And as always, I break down the marketing and branding strategies behind celebrities, creators, and campaigns so you can build something real, aligned, magnetic, and most importantly, authentic. And today we're going to break down why personal brands fail through the lens of Katy Perry's brand journey, as well as 3 other huge celebs, and looking at them as high-profile examples of this. Because these aren't just stories, these are important lessons on branding that you can actually apply for yourself. But first, I know most of you watching are not subscribed to my channel. I see it all. And if you've been liking this video, please hit that subscribe button right now. And it really just helps grow the channel. It helps more than you know. And if you join my newsletter, Marketer's Memo, I'll be sending you a free checklist on authentic branding to help you elevate your brand with just a few simple questions you can look at as you go through the process of building your brand. And it will really help you build a brand that feels like you. You can find the link for that in the description below. And you can also listen to these episodes on Spotify, and you can listen to them on the go. All right, now let's get into it. Why personal brands fail. So let's zoom out for a second. Here's the thing. Audiences fall in love with a feeling your brand gives them, not your logo, not your fonts, not your latest aesthetic pivot. It's all about the emotional promise, that consistent feeling people get when they interact with your content. If you break that promise, even once, the trust starts to crack. Most personal brands collapse for one of 3 reasons. Number 1, they chase trends so hard they lose their identity. 2, they evolve without bringing their audience along. And 3, they stay stuck in an old version of themselves because they're scared to grow. In the next section, I'm going to show you exactly how this plays out for some very popular celebrities that you all know as real life examples of some real big brand fails. Branding fails and what we can learn from them. So let's take a look at some personal branding fails from celebrities that we all know that didn't just fumble but totally broke trust with their audience. So number 1, Katy Perry. Her emotional promise was joyful, candy-colored, slightly weird pop escapism. Think of like her teenage dream era. So she had these like big visuals, a lot of colors, big hooks, California girl energy, like quintessential Katy Perry. And then let's go to 2017 with her Witness era. It was a high concept album with high concept visuals, edgy politics, the blonde hairdo, the shaved head, this woke rebrand, like a lot of like feminist themes in it. But instead of feeling like growth, it kind of felt like a 180 for her. Her audience just couldn't tell what the vibe was anymore. Were we here to party or were we here to unpack policy? And the visuals felt off, the singles underperformed, and the playful heart of her brand was completely MIA. She tried to recover it with Smile in 2020, which was a quick return to the cork color vibe that we all know and love her for. But at that point, the audience had moved on. It felt like a reboot of an old character rather than something new. Her Vegas residency embraced nostalgia, but it couldn't reignite her pop relevance. Then came 143 in 2024. That was a lot of numbers at once. Her 2024 comeback album completely flopped, still flopping as we speak. People can't stop talking about how bad this flopped. Critics called it soulless, fans were confused, and working with Dr. Luxus in 2025 or in 2024, girl, are you crazy? We don't do that no more. We got these people on trial these days. What are you doing? So that was clearly a red flag for many and turned a lot of people off. The marketing didn't land, the messaging was unclear, and the album didn't really offer anything new. It just made people feel cringe, which was super awkward. And then her tour came, equally messy, and the branding was inconsistent. The performances leaned heavily on the old hits, of course, because nobody really liked the new overall vibe. So at this point, I think Katy would just be better off embracing herself as a legacy act. Like, just embrace that people just cared about the teenage dream California girl version of you and be cute with her little Vegas residency for the rest of your life. Like, just be a legacy act at this point. Because honestly, the lesson that you can really learn from Katy is if you want to evolve, you need to take your audience with you. Growth should feel earned, not like a total rebrand out of nowhere. You don't need to abandon your core promise to stay relevant. You just need to expand it and allow it to grow with you. Now looking at our next celebrity, Ellen DeGeneres. So this was an interesting one because her emotional promise was this relatable humor, warmth, and her be kind catchphrase. So her entire brand was built around positivity and inclusivity, and she was like daytime TV safe space. But then all hell broke loose when the toxic workplace reports hit, and everyone found out Miss Ellen was not who she was on screen and off screen. The stories of mistreatment, fear, dysfunction, all behind a brand that promised joy and generosity. So very big cognitive dissonance here. This wasn't just a scandal. It felt like a betrayal to the audience. When you brand yourself as the nice one, people expect receipts. The lesson here, your actions have to align with your message. The bigger your emotional promise, the harder the fall is if you break it. Now looking at Kanye West. So his emotional promise when he came out, if any of you remember, I was definitely alive at this time. His emotional promise was being a visionary, being bold, and an unfiltered creative power. Early Kanye was controversial. Like, I remember the first one was, George Bush doesn't care about Black people. And that was huge. And at that time, it was very brash and it was very different, and it definitely served as art because people are like, oh, this guy's a disruptor. He made big strides in music and fashion, and he was really like pushing the industry in a very different way, especially for hip hop. But then along the line, the chaos turned from serving the art and it just became the story itself. Unpredictable rants, erratic public statements, brand partnerships gone sour. It totally drowned out the music. Now, instead of being known for innovation, Kanye's brand just feels exhausting and honestly kind of dangerous at times with the things he's saying. Even his diehard fans just don't even know what he stands for anymore. The lesson you can learn from Kanye, you can be disruptive, but there's a fine line between being bold and being reckless. The moment people stop trusting your intent, your brand totally loses its power, and that's where he is right now. And our last example, Will Smith. So this is an interesting one, especially compared to Kanye, who kind of like went from chaos to uncontrolled chaos. Will Smith went from just charm to this unexpected outburst that no one saw coming. So his emotional promise was charm, stability, respectable Hollywood icon, this everyman figure. And for decades, Will Smith was the gold standard. He really was the everyman. And he was known for being like family friendly, professional, beloved. And the fail happened, as we all know, at this point, that Oscar slap. It changed everything. It was jarring. It was very jarring because he was this guy who built a whole brand around being likable and then snapped and did it live on television, especially when he was winning his first Oscar ever. Since then, his comeback has been slow and very clumsy. His movies haven't hit the same. His recent interviews sometimes feel like overcompensating for the lost status. Like his whole I turned down Inception quote that's been going around recently, or by the time this comes out a couple weeks ago. It was meant to be a flex, but it just kind of like landed awkward, at least for me. I'm just like, why are you still talking about this? Inception came out like 15 years ago, sir. I think it's time that we move on. And I think the real lesson you can learn from Will Smith is one moment can crack decades of credibility, which is kind of sucks, because he did really build that thing brick by brick, but all it takes is one moment in the eyes of the internet, truly, in this day and age. If it happens, recovery takes transparency and time and not just press tours. So on the other side of things, let's look at some close calls of when brands pivoted and they could have gone really bad, but they actually ended up working out really well for these celebs. So I have like 3 examples that come to mind here. The first being Miley Cyrus. So after Hannah Montana, we had her Can't Be Tamed era, and that didn't fully land. Like, if anyone remembers, it was kind of a mess. The visuals were awkward. It just didn't even feel like her, and it really was giving overcorrection. But with Bangers, she found her stride. It was bold, it was chaotic, and it still felt real. She didn't abandon her weirdness. She leaned into it with purpose, and that authenticity is what allowed her to eventually mature her brand without losing her audience. Tyler, the Creator. I remember when Tyler, the Creator, came out with Odd Future. It was such a moment in time, and aging myself, I was in high school when this happened, and everyone was talking about Tyler, the Creator. His early brand was super aggressive and shocking and like full of controversy, eating roaches in his music videos. But he slowly evolved into a creative visionary with aesthetics and storytelling and fashion at the forefront. And what worked for him? He took the audience along. You saw the evolution happen in real time. He didn't suddenly flip a switch and became this person. He just grew, and he let us grow with him. And third example, kind of very different because I'm talking about mainly an actor here and not like Will Smith, who also dabbled in music, but Robert Downey Jr. He had a really big redemption arc. He was once seen as this Hollywood liability, and he built his brand through consistency, vulnerability, and the perfect character alignment with Iron Man. His comeback worked because it was authentic, transparent, and aligned with what audiences wanted to believe about him, and that redemption is real. And I think Lindsay Lohan is someone who's kind of on the same redemption arc. We haven't really seen the full payout of it yet, but she's on her journey, and I can't wait to see in a couple years what becomes of her career as well. So the lesson you can learn from these people who did it well is evolution doesn't ruin a brand, but confusion does. If your pivot is grounded in your emotional promise, it can elevate you. How you can avoid these traps. So, of course, we always have to give you the tips on how you can build your personal brand without encompassing any of these fails. Number 1, stay rooted in your emotional promise. Ask yourself, why do people follow me? What do they want to feel through my brand? Every pivot, every product, every post should reinforce that feeling. 2, narrate your evolution. People don't need you to stay the same. They just need to understand why you're changing. Don't just show the after, show the during. Take your audience behind the scenes. 3, don't chase trends at the cost of trust. If you're hopping on every new format or aesthetic and ignore your brand's soul, your audience will start to feel like you're a knockoff of yourself. Use trends to amplify your brand, not become it. 4, recalibrate regularly. Once a quarter, you should check in with yourself. What's landing with my audience? Am I still excited by what I'm putting out? Do I feel connected to what I'm creating? If not, that is a sign that you need to realign. Don't wait for a scandal or silence from the audience to be that invitation for you. Realign when you notice that something just seems a little bit off or you just don't connect with it anymore. And 5, the most important one, keep the humanity. At the end of the day, your brand is you. Own the pivots, own the contradictions, and let people feel the journey. Your brand is more than a vibe. It's a relationship that's built on trust in yourself and trust with your audience. So you need to protect your emotional promise. Be clear, be consistent, and most importantly, be human. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the emotional promise of your brand? If you felt like this video helped you, please hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's stuck in rebrand limbo or just needs a little bit of Ana the Marketeer in her life or his life or their life. Join my newsletter, Marketer's Memo, to get weekly branding gems. Stream this episode on the pod on Spotify. And if you want to support the channel more, you can also buy me a coffee. All the links are in the bio or description below. Until next time, Marketeers, stay rooted, stay aligned, and most importantly, stay human. Bye.